let's just start with what are the 7 elements that Paul says, hey, if we're going to have a Christ-like mindset, here's the 7 things. And it's just verse by verse. So verse 4, he says, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say, rejoice. Element 1, attitude of gratitude. For those of you who were here during the Tude series that we did, and I had the disc golf cage out here, and we talked about, attitude determines altitude, and you saw me throw the disc into the cage and all that stuff. Like, you can go back and consider maybe this point as like point 2 onto that message series. But an attitude of gratitude is a mindset that we're able to thank God even for difficult situations. When was the last time you did that? When was the last time you thanked God for a difficult situation? I recently learned something about tomatoes, and I'm just going to take it complete, because I know if I meddle with us, like sometimes the resistance, like, oh, don't, you're in my house. Like, get out of my house. You're not allowed to talk to me here. So we're going to talk about tomatoes, and then you can make the connection between yourself and the tomato plant. Not that I'm calling you vegetables, I'm just saying. So I learned that tomatoes actually become more fruitful if you heavily prune them as they're growing. To the point where, so I've never done this. I was really uncomfortable doing this, but I've done it now, and I'm starting to see the results. But you literally, clip off all of the leaves and all of the suckers that come up through, and you do, anytime it bears a tomato, you clip all the branches underneath it. So you have this stalk, and then you've got this, it looks like a little tomato tree is what it ends up looking like. And I thought, wow, that's really weird, and I'm uncomfortable doing that. But the truth is, it minimizes the amount of moisture around the base of the plant. It minimizes the amount of moisture on the leaves of the plant, and tomatoes are prone to disease because of the moisture or irregular watering or what have you. So it's uncomfortable, I'm sure. And if I was a tomato plant, I'd be like, hey, I put a lot of effort into growing that branch. What are you doing? Right? I mean, put yourself in that position. Somebody comes along and says, you don't need that. Do we approach God with that mindset? God, thank you for that challenge, because you know that humans are actually like tomato plants. They've shown this again and again and again in study after study. Not that we're vegetables, but just that we do not grow without adversity. We don't. We tend to stay comfortable, and we don't grow unless we are challenged. And so do we thank God for challenging situations? Paul invites us to take our eyes off the missing branches and the things that are broken off in adversity, and to start to celebrate the greater harvest that will come as a result. Let that land for a minute. So next time you go into a challenging situation, you'll be like, all right, this is really uncomfortable. This hurts, God, but I'm going to thank you for it, not because of the way this feels at the moment, but because I know you're doing this for a harvest that's coming. There's fruit that's going to come as a result of this. So I'm looking ahead to that. You know, that's the very attitude of Jesus as he went to the cross. You are joining Jesus in that moment.